Thank you for a wonderful lecture. James Shaftesbury, I'm a philosopher of science. The most important thing in our world is a perception of reality. Most people seem to fail to have a very good perception of reality, namely a majority of people who will believe in things like religion when all of the evidence suggests that it's nonsense. And what you find is that a very small amount of people who are intellectuals will eschew religion, and most of the majority who are not intellectuals will follow some kind of religion. But we've known for a long time that the left parietal and right parietal lobes of the brain tend to, the left controls our dreams and our volition and our wishes, and the right parietal controls our logic. And when there's right parietal damage, you find that people lose track of their logic, and the patient very often is in denial of something. This is a very well-known neurological syndrome. And it struck me that, is it possible that most of the world could have mental illness and be in denial of the logic that we find all around us? Because when you have meta-analyses, if you examine something with dendrochronology and isotopic analysis and carbon dating, the likelihood of it being wrong when all of those things concur is we use less evidence to hang a man in America or give a man the death penalty. And yet when we have that kind of evidence, how is it that probably a majority of people will be in denial of that?
Yes.
Which leads me to one point that I'm very concerned about in England. And that is, we have some very intelligent people who have postulated aspects of our world between different kinds of people, whether they be males, females, or clades or types, who are genetically and inherently different. And yet when they speak these obvious facts that all of the intelligentsia agree with, they lose their jobs or their persona non grata, or they don't get media time anymore.
What's going on? Why are we susceptible to?
How would you approach the problem that the minority of people are obviously right, but the majority won't accept it? What should we do about that?
Well, I guess the most general answer is that none of us has a brain that can actually put us in touch with reality unaided, with truth. I've just shown you a bunch of gadgetry that responds to things that are essential to our survival, things that prevent us from falling off cliffs and bumping into trees, but that don't actually correspond to any clear description of the world as it is. So we have, for example, circuitry that responds to edges rather than the physical distribution of light, because edges are important. That's where objects leave off and their backgrounds begin. Moreover, they can be fooled, as I did with each one of you, that since our neural circuitry does consist of a mechanism, not a pipeline to the truth, or to a window onto objective reality, that is naive realism, we know is false because there are illusions. You can't just trust your senses. That means we need some way of augmenting the faculties that nature gave us to make our beliefs as accurate as possible, which of course is why the early modern philosophers made such a big deal of visual illusions. They said you can't just open your eyes and see the world as it is. Look at all these illusions. And so what we do, what gives some of us confidence that our beliefs are objectively true is that they are part of an institutional infrastructure of testing and criticism and logic and determining which hypotheses withstand criticism and attempts at refutation, which devising exotic arrangements of reality to reflect the way reality is put together, namely experiments. Thanks to this huge network of minds, each one of them making up for deficits of all the others, we like to think that we have a collective grasp on truth that none of us individually can have. But of course it's always fallible, and the religious beliefs I think were actually pretty reasonable hypotheses in earlier states of our collective knowledge. Even Richard Dawkins said that before Darwin, he probably would have been a creationist because the a cosmic engineer was the only available explanation for the obvious adaptive complexity of living things. I would add that prior to the advent of modern neuroscience, it would have been, I probably would have believed in souls. Because there was no better explanation for phenomena such as that people respond intelligently to their environments. When you dream, some part of you is up and about the world while your body is in bed the whole time. That seems like there must be some part of you that can leave your body. When a person suddenly dies, some kind of animating force no longer seems to be animating the body that was there just a few minutes ago. So the soul hypothesis is not a stupid or irrational belief, nor is creationism if it's the best that you have. Now, of course, we can do better. But doing better in part depends not just on this cumulative weight of evidence and argument, but because few of us can actually reconstruct the scientific observations that justify the theory of natural selection or the theory of neural networks, all of us, at least a little bit, take it on faith in the following sense, that there is a community that you trust enough because when they have been challenged to defend their beliefs, they can connect them to reality. They have shown that it isn't magic, that they have given reason to trust them because they've convinced you that the mores of their culture, of their scientific culture, are designed so that they will find true things and weed out false things. If you don't have that degree of solidarity and trust, if you think that scientists are all in cahoots with big corporations or are trying to tear down all faith and values and meaning, and you simply refuse to follow through the very long chain of deductions that connects the claims to the experiments, then you'll naturally reject it just because it's not your tribe. For you and me, scientists are our tribe, and we're apt to give them some credibility, indeed some credulousness, knowing that if ever challenged, it would be repaid. But unless you trace that through, it can be all too easy to reject the conclusions of science. And indeed, a number of studies have shown that contrary to the common belief that people believe in falsehoods, such as that vaccines cause autism, or that humans were created 5,000 years ago, or that the burning of fossil fuels has no effect on global temperatures. It turns out that people with those beliefs that we have every reason to believe are false are no more scientifically naive on average than people who have the beliefs that are scientifically justified. You give a test on evolution to a bunch of people who believe in evolution, give it to a bunch of creationists, there's not much difference in how well they score. In fact, often they're equal. Likewise, the typical grasp of climate science among someone who signs on to the scientific consensus is not much better than the adamant deniers. The difference is, and that kind of dashes the hope that simply by increasing the quality of science education, you will lead people to more accurate beliefs. There, in addition, has to be a dissociation of who you think are the good guys and who are the bad guys from who has the best claims to truth. That's what it depends on.